Tom Holland's messaging in regards to the future of Spider-Man and what he says one week outright just contradicts what he says in the previous week, which just makes me think that there's a whole lot of confusion in regards to pretty much everything going forward. Recently, the actor did say, if it's time to say goodbye, that he's proud of what they've done. Look, honestly, the way I look at this whole situation, and this is just me looking at it from the outside, I honestly feel like they haven't even started really trying to figure out what happens next with Spider-Man. Like, maybe there's a couple ideas, but I don't think they've even gotten as far as, hey, here's the contract or the early contract, what do you think? Because I think there's a lot to dissect in regards to what happens next and how they rework new contracts and how that involves Sony share and Disney share and Marvel Studios involvement and what happens going forward. So with all that in mind, Tom Holland was recently asked about playing the character. And he said, first and foremost, he loves this character and he loves what he got to do. He did then say that he is not ready to say goodbye, which honestly, if we go back to a month ago, he was saying, well, I might be ready to move on. I think I'm done. What if I want to have children? So again, it's in contrast to what he was saying before. And then he says, but if it is time for me to say goodbye, I will do this proudly. Because he says that he knows he's achieved everything he's wanted to with this character and the story and the growth of the character. So if it's time, he's done. So in regards to him giving up the franchise, I still think this is just one of those things that's out there because he genuinely probably doesn't know what's happening next. Like, you know, his contract for the better part of the films he was starring in is up. Is he just going to be cameos, a supporting role for a couple of films? You know, what happens next? Does he get the Doctor Strange treatment where it's like, okay, you're going to be a cameo here, an extended role here, supporting role here, and then we'll get to your film 5 to 6, 7 years from now? Maybe that's the case, you know, we don't know, but I honestly think that this is something that they're going to take their time on figuring out. And it's one of those things where you're going to have to kind of just follow along with this sort of whiplash effect in regards to what they're saying, and specifically what he's saying, because I assume he'd be the last person to know what happens with the contract until he's handed a contract being like, well, we've hashed out the details, have your team look at it, and then the process takes it to the next step. But I still think it's honestly a little bit of time till we get to that, because from everything we understand, Sony's interested in a lot of Spider-Man. And a lot of Spider-Man might not just involve him being the only live-action one, which causes a whole lot of other problems which I've talked about in regards to how you handle marketing and the IP when there's multiple studios, franchises, actors, and just multiple outlets and people all having their hands in on the same pie. It gets a little more complex than just having 1 to 2 people or outside sources filling in. This would require way more, which I think is why it's taken so long. They're really trying to find their footing, but it's a little hard.